This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. Today I'm very lucky we're joined by Jamie Sheldon. So thank you very much for coming on, Jamie. It's good to see you, mate.
You're welcome, mate. You too. Good to see you, finally.
So what's been going on with you, Jamie? What have you been up to?
Just the same old, mate. Busy with boxing. Obviously, in these uncertain times, I've been quite lucky. I've been away with UFC, done quite a bit of boxing abroad. And obviously, while we've been off, we've been setting everything up with the Empire Pro Tip side of things. Obviously, the management company, podcast studios, the fight store. So, yeah, it's been busy, mate. It's been good.
Do you find that you're working most weekends as a Cutman then?
Before obviously lockdown, yeah, pretty much anything between. I think most I ever did was I did 49 shows in 1 year. I probably average about 35. But obviously during lockdown and things like that, I was quite lucky and fortunate enough that I got to travel with UFC, and a lot of the stuff that I've been doing at the moment. I haven't been doing as many, but I've been doing a lot of more bigger shows because they're the only ones that's been able to continue. But then also, I don't know if you've seen Dennis Hobson's doing those regular shows on that little small streaming site. We've been lucky enough to drop on those as well. So yeah, it's not being as busy, but busy enough.
I think there's a show. Is it today in Sheffield? Are you there now?
Yeah, there's one tonight in Sheffield. We've got our media team going down there to work. I'm not down there tonight at this one because it's my other half birthday. And it's England Scotland, so I've got that. But there is another one next weekend. I'm down at that one. I'll be down at that one next week. No, the MTK next week. It's MTK next weekend, and then Dennis Hobson again the week after.
Has the lockdown had quite a hard effect on Cutman then? Has it been quite difficult so far in the last year?
Yeah. For a cutman in general, but most cutmen don't work within the sport full time, and so obviously they've had things that they could fall back on and stuff like that. I've been quite fortunate. Obviously, like I said, with the UFC taking us away 3 times for a month at a time, doing 4 shows, sometimes 5 shows within that time frame. So we've still been pretty busy. But a lot of cutmen, and it's not just a cutman. You've got to look at the fighters, because a lot of fighters, if they're not fighting, they've had to go to work. If they're going to work and need to earn a living, they're not going to pay the license fees to renew the boxing license and get the medical. So it did at the sport hard, but. Obviously, Eddie's pulled it out at Bagwell's fight camps. Obviously, Frank Warren were doing stuff behind closed doors. So with, I think all the boxing promoters, they've done the best out of a bad situation to try and keep as many people busy. So it's been a strange one. Because I think there'll be a lot of people that don't even come back to the sport now. It's been that long, so especially a lot of like your journeymen. Obviously, they need to fight regularly. If they haven't got a regular income, they've got to work. So I think a lot of them, and especially a lot of the older fighters that were coming to end their career, they've had another year off. Will they come back without it? So it's hit every job within the sports hard.
Yeah, it's kind of fortunate, really. I remember when Stina Ryan wrote about it, Ryan was like, there's been lots of fighters who only got another job and then they stick on that job, but they don't really see a point in going back to boxing. And you say that you've been working with the UFC. What's the difference between being a cutman in the UFC and boxing? I presume there's more cuts in the UFC, right?
Yeah, 100%. There is more cuts, and it's a great place to learn your trade. The only downside to working, obviously, I'll call it MMA. Downside with MMA on the lower levels, it's not as structured as obviously boxing. It's not like, obviously we've got the British Boxing Board of Control, and the lower level stuff in the UK, there isn't anything like that, or as big as that covering the UK MMA scene. But once you get to the top end stuff, obviously it's regulated. It's really good. The main difference between a boxing cutman and a MMA cutman is MMA cutman is employed by the promotion, whereas when I'm working with a fighter, I'm just employed by that one fighter. So when I work for an MMA show, I'm potentially wrapping hands or working every single fight on that card, and that's the main difference. But the job's exactly the same.
Yeah, working every single fight on the card, blimey, I was quite busy then.
Yeah, we usually have a team. There's usually a team of 3 or a team of 3 or 4 of us, and we kind of divide the card up. So many will wrap hands, and then we switch over, and then so some will go cage side, and then we'll swap back.
And when you were a cut man for the last, I think it was May just gone when Billy fought Canelo, you got to go fly over there. And it's been quite nice to get out of England for a while. What I want to know is, in the end of the 8th round, you were lucky enough to be not lucky enough, but you were in the corner of that fight. In the end of the 8th round, what went on in the corner there?
I was waiting for you to ask this. So what happened where they ended the round? So we'll rewind it back here because you're the first person I've actually told this.
Like, no one's asked you that.
Pardon?
No one's asked you that before.
No, because I've kind of kept away from interviews and stuff. You're the first one here to have my side of it. Because obviously I was just sat back watching when I'd come home. Obviously that week I was absolutely knackered when I got back. It was a draining week with everything that was going on. And then obviously I like Mark Tibbs, I like Ben Davison. I know they were having a bit of a spat on social media, but just because I think personally, obviously Billy said Ben had pulled him out, which Ben did whisper to Billy, "We're going to pull you." Do you know what I mean? So if you've got three people talking to you, obviously Ben were in his ear, so that's the only one he could actually hear. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, I've got loads of time for all three of the people that are in that corner, obviously Ben, Mark, and Billy. So what I recall from that, when the shot landed, and we finally it's different in America. You're not all crammed in the corner. So Mark Tibbs is in the corner. Me and Ben Davison were just sat a little bit behind. When that shot landed, and like all Canelo shots, you could actually hear it. Like somebody being hit by a bus. Obviously, that shot's landed. Billy's turned around. We've seen the impact now. With that sort of damage and that injury, your face kind of caves in. It don't seem to swell and balloon out as you'd expect. It kind of goes in. So me and Ben spoke. We were like, look, let's just get white towel ready. So we got the white towel ready. I had it by my side. Passed it to Mark. So Mark's then got a towel in the corner. Saw the round out and he come back. As he's come back and as he sat, I've put my hand straight over the eye, just to feel and to see how Billy reacted. Now he didn't jump in pain, he didn't wince, he didn't nothing, but it just felt like mush, to be fair. I've got my hand covering his eye, so at this point, Mark couldn't actually see the damage. Now me and Ben had already spoke about the damage in this and other, so Ben's speaking to Billy saying, "We're going to pull you." Billy's obviously reacting like he don't want to be pulled. He's a proud man. Do you know what I mean? Nobody wants to be pulled out of the fight, regardless of how injured you are. I think looking back, I think he's glad he did, because obviously another shot on the eye was potentially getting blinded with that injury. So while Ben's obviously speaking to Billy, I'm covering the eye. So Mark doesn't know the extent of his damage at this present time. Then Mark says to him, "Billy, you've got to show me something." Because he's still not seen, because Billy's body language was kind of, obviously we're just hearing that he was getting pulled out, so his body language weren't great. And then it was at this point, the word, I cannot remember who come out with it, whether it was Billy or Mark, says, "I took my hand off the eye." Billy looked, he said, "I can't see." Once them words got said, everybody kind of picked up on that a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So everybody kind of went around each other. Nobody actually said, "What do you think? What should we do?" It was just kind of pull him, he spun and pulled him. I think either it got portrayed before. Obviously, Billy said Ben pulled him. Now, he was the first person that told Billy he was getting pulled. Do you know what I mean? But anybody in that corner, and like I just keep quiet in the corner unless I'm asked. Now, anybody in that corner wants to know the extent of that damage, we're pulling him out regardless. Do you know what I mean? There's no way, shape, or form would he have got let back out.
See, that what you just gave me there was a very good explanation of what happened. Because
You're the first one. You're the first one to get that.
Because when I see like the Mark Tibbs and Ben Davison interviews, I don't know if they tell you the full story, but that from there was A to B, the start to finish. But did his eye kind of fall down? Because I remember him, so you got that metal thing. I don't know what you called his Cutman.
Yeah.
But did you feel his eye falling down into the socket more?
Yeah, no. So what I've done with that, because obviously I put no pressure on that. Now generally that piece of steel or iron and so whatever you want to call it, that's for swelling. Now he had no swelling, but I expected swelling to come, and it didn't really. So when I put the end swell on, like when you put it on a swelling, you put pressure on it. Obviously I'd had my hand on his eye already, and like I said, I could feel it. It felt like mush. So I was just using that just because it's on a cold surface. It's been iced. So I was just pulling cold on it just to stop inflammation, just to stop it blowing out. There was no pressure on that really. And like I said, when I put my hand on it, and I could feel it underneath, and it was just, yeah, it was a weird feeling. Because obviously I remember I was there when Kell Brook got his done with Golovkin. I remember seeing that injury, and it just looked the same sort of thing. Now the only difference with them two that were alarming for Kell is when Kell did it, he kept rubbing his eye. That's a good sign that something serious about. Whether it had moved in a different place to Billy's, I don't know. Billy didn't really start messing with it. Do you know what I mean? So he kind of stuck in limbo. Is it as bad as it looks? Do you know what I mean? But once he come back and we felt it, it were game over. Which it was a shame. It was a shame, but that's boxing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty nasty. I think the backlash on social media Billy Joe Saunders got is quite nasty. But do you see him fighting again, Billy?
Um, yeah, do you know what? I'm actually going to phone Billy this week, to be fair. I haven't caught up with him for a while. I think there's part of him will want to. There's part of him will want to. I just hope he doesn't feel pressured into doing it again. Nah, don't get me wrong. I don't know what Billy's financial situation is to every last penny, but I can imagine he's all right. So for me, financially, would I want to? Not really. Do you know what I mean? Ride off into the sunset with your kids and enjoy your life. But like I say, as a travelling man, as a fighting man, as a proud man, you never know with Billy. You never know. It's just the unexpected. Just all that fight week were unexpected. What were happening? Do you know what I mean? There's probably a good chance he might have one foot road.
Yeah, you never know. I think he did a thing in Talksport, an interview at Talksport. He says he'll see what his dad says. So if we move on to something more positive, Esports Boxing Club has been blowing up
Yeah.
on YouTube. The views of that are quite good, you know.
Yeah.
So what's your involvement of Esports Boxing Club?
Well, it's not. So right, basically what it is, obviously, I helped Empire Tape, obviously, who put all the tape on the outside of the boxing gloves and this and that. I linked up with them back in 2017. Helped them develop a fight tape for the hand wraps and this and that. Since then, we only planned on doing the hand wrap tape. It blew up. So basically, I was obviously I wasn't sponsored by Empire, but I was kind of representing Empire at shows and that, and what I've been, I had a close involvement and working relationship with them. I've now gone full time with them. They basically, what happened with the boxing game. So I've gone full time with them. Obviously, we're doing a fight store. We're doing all gloves and we've got a podcast studio. I'm actually sat in the podcast studio at the moment. We're going to get all this set up. So we've just kind of turned it all the fight game into a full time job for everybody involved. Now, Esports Boxing Club come to Empire wanting to use the tape for the game. Obviously, Empire's thinking they're going to want money for it, which they didn't. They kind of wanted some involvement, and then from that, Empire says, "Oh, we're in with the British Boxing Board of Control. We can get you this fighter, we can get you this fighter, we can get you this fighter." Obviously, we've got Cutman, if you want to put Cutman in the game, and it escalated from there, mate. Honestly, I got the message off the gaffer down at Empire saying, "Look, we've got you in this computer game. If you want it, you're up for it." And I was like, me personally, I'm not really a gamer. Don't really know much about it. But I've got a young son who's not a gamer at the moment, but I can imagine when this goes off, he'll be into it. And I thought, you know what, it's a great opportunity because you'll still be able to watch yourself back, and because of the old fighters in the game, obviously I'll be like working in corner with Joe Fraser on this game. There's only 3 cutmen. Well, tell a lie. There's 2 cutmen and there's 1 cutwoman that she's put it out on social media this morning. There's actually only 3 named people. Do you know what I mean?
Who are the 3 names?
There's Nat, she's an up and coming cut woman from Manchester that's really trying at the game. Do you know what I mean? She's putting everything into it. Her work ethic's second to none. She's class. And then obviously Jumbo, Ian Johnson, who obviously works very, very closely with Max Rowan, good friend of ours. He's been good with Empire ever since it started as well. He's on it. So we're the only named ones. All the others are just going to be generic names. So just for that, it's a big honour, especially with how the game's escalated as well, with the fighters that's in it now. Do you know what I mean? Your Lomachenko's, your Canelo's and stuff like that. So that's exciting, mate. And like I said, I got Empire to thank for that, because them that pulled me in, and obviously got me in.
I mean, Muhammad Ali's in the game. Now you can say you work Muhammad Ali's corner, but
I know, mate.
But so
mate. It's real.
Since you're in the game, what was it like getting scanned into it?
Well, the funny thing with it, like Empire. So when I first got phoned up by Empire to come and work with them, I just thought they were just. I didn't take them seriously, to be fair, because I didn't know nothing. Because Empire's a tape manufacturer, a tape company. I'd never heard of them, but then I realised how big they were, and they were actually located 2 miles from my mum's house, and I never knew they existed, which was a bit strange. So that's why I took a bit of a punt on them. Now, same with the Esports Boxing Club, where I've moved to now. Esports Boxing Club's about 2 miles from my house. I could literally just walk down. So when they sent me the address to go in for scanning, it was all a bit crazy. I took my son. I thought I'll take my son down and let him have a look. And they were so good. You go in, there's a little team of people. There's all old games. There's like game consoles in there from when I was younger. So it was like nice to see a lot of retro gaming stuff. And then they're working closely with a company called 1024 who do all the visuals and the graphics. I'm not going into detail on that because I don't really know. And then they took me in and they put me in that. I don't know if you saw Josh Taylor when he was getting his pictures took. It's like a big ring of cameras, 180 cameras or whatever it was. And they just literally got me stood in there measured me up for my height and stuff, and then just honestly, when they were saying get ready, we're going to go, and they were clicking, it was just the biggest flash you've ever seen. It was just ridiculous. And you just stood in this room and it's just flashing. They're getting you to pull facial expressions and stuff like this. And they're even getting me to do happy facial expressions. And for me, that's pretty hard because I'm a proper moody looking, miserable looking Skinner. Do you know what I mean? So it was good, mate. It was good. It was an experience. And I think we were due to go back up and have a little look at the game last week, but we had to rearrange. So fingers crossed next week we're going to shoot back up with Empire and go and have a look and see how the game's coming on.
Yeah, I've seen loads of photos. That's really cool. I've seen loads of photos of all the cameras in the circle. That must have cost quite a lot. Those DSLR cameras are all quite expensive as well. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know what part? Because in the game you've got like the quick match, you've got career mode. Do you know what part of the game you'll be in? Like, I guess in the career mode.
From what I know, mate, I can be anywhere in the game. You know what I mean? I don't really know too much about how it's all going to work, but the thing is with me is I don't really like seeing myself. But if people are playing it, I want to be all over that game, mate. To be fair, yeah, get investing in a good Cutman, mate. You never know, it might save your life. Yeah, that's what you need.
Being Canelo on Muhammad Ali's Cutman on Lomachenko, that's pretty cool in the game.
Yeah, I don't really want to be Canelo's at the minute. It's a bit too soon after Billy fight. Do you know what I mean? I want to be in the other corner. I want to get one over on him.
Yeah, so I mean, you get people taking photos of it, sending it to you.
Yeah, definitely.
I've only got one more question. I don't take too much of your time up, but I always wanted this, you know. How much tape do you go through a month as a Cutman? How many rolls of tape?
Oh God! So being a Cutman, it was through MMA that kind of made the Cutman be the hand rapper. In old school boxing, it was always the trainer. Obviously with the MMA shows, like I said, I can be rapping. If you do a small amateur show in UK, you could be working on 20 fights, so quite a lot. I know at one point I was spending back in the early days. I'm going back years now. So I used to buy tape to sell. I used to sell it on eBay for like a couple of pounds, but what I used to do with the profit, used to pay for mine. Do you know what I mean? And I was spending anything up to about between 2.5 and 3-4 grand a year, just on tape. Do you know what I mean? Just to pay for my own, like, do you know what I mean? So you can get through quite a lot. Obviously, being like I'm in Empire offices now, I've got tape coming out my ears, so that's not an actual issue. But you can get through quite a lot. You can get through, especially if you're using it in training and stuff like that. That's why there's different tapes at different price scales, so we can like accommodate. Obviously, you have an elite fighter that's got plenty of money and on the big money, so they're not fussed of what it costs. But obviously, we've got to kind of be realistic here and think some people aren't on that sort of money, they might not afford, so we kind of do cheaper ones to accommodate them, so they're still getting a good product, but obviously cheaper.
Okay, that's loads of tape. There must be, what, 4 grand of tape a year? That's going to be a ton.
Yeah,
right,
I used to literally get a pallet dropped off. They used to drop me a pallet off, and I just had it in my garage, big boxes of tape. I used to unpack it all, and then I just had it on eBay. People, and it was funny because I had people such as, like, they didn't actually know it was me on eBay, but I had Kell Brook ordering off an eBay site and things like this. And yeah, it was pretty nuts. But that's what you did. And it was a time put in that's got me to the level I'm at today with the fighters and things. Do you know what I mean? So it pays off.
Well, I just thought, you know, when you use someone's tape for a big fight, say the Billy Joe Saunders fight, say he'd beaten Canelo, could you not just go get that tape and sell it on eBay? Because wouldn't that be worth? That's quite good, you know. You'd make quite a lot of money doing that, wouldn't you?
Doing what, sorry?
Say you use the tape, so you got Billy's glove here and you wrap it around,
Yeah.
and then after the fight takes it off, he's going to throw a tape in the bin, and you just keep the tape and pop it on eBay.
Well, what I do, I've got some. It's generally hand wraps. I can cut the hand wraps off so they stay intact, if you like. So when Dalton Smith boxed Lee Appleyard for the English title, I wrapped Dalton. Obviously, I'm out of that gym anyway. I'm closely linked to Dalton's gym and a good friend of his dad's. I wrapped Dalton, and obviously Dalton's a big Sheffield Wednesday fan. Now, the British Boxing Board of Control inspector who signed off the gloves didn't know Dalton was a Sheffield Wednesday fan. And because I'm a big Rotherham fan and he's a big Bury fan, he actually rated RUFC on one hand and Bury on the other. Now, Dalton didn't pick up on this, so when Dalton won the English title, I cut the wraps off and I took them home. I've got those hand wraps that I give them all to my son. I've got Charlie Edwards when he defended his WBC title. I've got those. I've got all sorts of stuff like that. I do generally keep them wraps. The tape on the gloves, it'd be hard to keep hold of that because it literally just gets whipped off that quick. It's not personalised to the fighter and just thrown. You know what I mean? But as such as hand wraps and that, you can get them. But I try and like with the fight shirts, I auction a lot off for kids' charities and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's quite nice. That's quite a good idea with the hand wraps and stuff. All right,
yeah,
Jamie.
the hand wraps are good.
Yeah,
The hand
imagine
wraps.
they must look pretty cool on the back of the wall or something like that. Look great. All right,
Are
Jamie.
you in? Are you hinting for a pair there? Show him it well.
I'm not hitting for a pair, but if you have a spare pair lying around, you know where to send it, Jamie.
I'll send you some. I'll get you some. Don't worry.
Hello, amazing. Thank you so much. All right,
All
Jamie.
right, mate.
Great talking to you today, mate. Where can people find you on social media at?
My social media. So on Facebook, it's just a normal personal site. That's Jamie Sheldon. Twitter, it's Cutman Sheldon, and same again on Instagram, Cutman Sheldon.
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description. All right, Jamie.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for your
All
time,
right,
mate.
mate. Lovely stuff. Take care, buddy.